Ruin has come to our family. You remember our venerable house? Opulent and imperial, gazing proudly from its stoic perch above the moor. I lived all my years in that ancient, rumor-shadowed manor, fattened by decadence and luxury. And yet I began to tire of conventional extravagance. Singular, unsettling tales suggested the mansion itself was a gateway to some fabulous and unnameable power. With relic and ritual, I bent every effort towards the excavation and recovery of those long-buried secrets, exhausting what remained of our family fortune on swarthy workmen and sturdy shovels. At last, in the salt-soaked crags beneath the lowest foundations, we unearthed that damnable portal of antediluvian evil. Our every step unsettled the ancient earth. But we were in a realm of death and madness. In the end, I alone fled laughing and wailing through those blackened arcades of antiquity, until consciousness failed me. You remember our venerable house, opulent and imperial. It is a festering abomination. I beg you, return home, claim your birthright, and deliver our family from the ravenous, clutching shadows of the darkest dungeon.
Hello everyone, Tymerover here. Welcome to the start of a new series for a game called Darkest Dungeon. If you're not familiar with the Darkest Dungeon, it is a dungeon crawling rogue-esque RPG kind of game where if your people die, they don't come back. There's no do-overs, but you do have a lot of people to recruit and choose from. The game came out, I believe, about a year or so ago, the actual 1.0 release or so on and so forth, and it actually was brought to my attention by other YouTubers. In 2015 I started seeing some YouTubers posting videos of pre-release versions of the game, and I thought to myself, you know what, this is actually a good game, I should play that at some point. Well, it fell off my radar, and just last week I was on Steam and I found that it was on special. It was a special week for it, and so I was like, you know what, that was a good game, I'm gonna try it, and we're gonna do a series on it and see where it goes. So we're gonna start a new campaign. I've only done a little bit in sort of just getting the controls and just getting a feel for it, and as you can see, only week 2, not the craziest, but we are going to create a new campaign here, and we're just going to do, there are 3 different levels of difficulty: Radiant, Darkest, and Stygian. Stygian, however you say that. But we're going to stick with the Radiant, which I believe is the novice level here. And we're going to rename this so I knew. This is the Let's Play. Let's Play. Alright, so we're going to jump right in. There is a cutscene, so I'll let that play out, and we will be back in a minute.
You will arrive along the old road. It winds with a troubling, serpent-like suggestion through the corrupted countryside, leading only, I fear, to ever more tenebrous places. There is a sickness in the ancient pitted cobbles of the old road, and on its writhing path you will face viciousness, violence, and perhaps other damnably transcendent terrors. So steel yourself, and remember, there can be no bravery without madness. The old road will take you to hell, but in that gaping abyss, we will find our redemption.
All right, excellent. I do like those cutscenes. I think they're really, really sweet looking. So we got, with the stagecoach destroyed and the caretaker gone, you will have to make the journey to Hamlet on foot. I'm sure this will end well. So let's go ahead and start it out. So I'm pretty sure that the so little help thing, navigation. So you basically start out with the same time. The tutorial little here, I believe, is the same each time. You always start with a crusader and you always start with a highwayman, although their skills may vary. So we have our seeker crusader here, Renaud, which, you know, in you know, tradition here for games like this, or in, you know, the Rimworld-esque kind of thing, we can rename these our heroes here. So if you do want your name in this series, let me know in the comments below, and as they come in, I will rename our crusaders. Granted, they may die, but hey, you'll at least get your name in the game. So just let me know in the comments below if you want your name in this this series. Back to the aspects here. So we got quirks. Quirks are good quirks, which this guy's got Warrior of Light, 10% damage if torch above 75%, and the torch we'll talk about in a little bit. But if it goes above 75%, we'll get plus 10% damage, which is nice. But we do have some negative quirks. We got God-Faring. In town will only pray for stress relief. So stress is something we'll talk about in a little bit, but this limits our ability to de-stress our little hero here. Kleptomaniac is prone to stealing items, and I had this in my test round, and from what I found is, occasionally you'll come across items that are good and will go in your inventory that you'll be able to keep or use. But if you have a kleptomaniac in the group, or I believe if they actually like interact with the object, if they open the chest or something, they may take those objects and you don't get them. So it's sort of a chance to item dump what you find, which is not good. And we have a couple different abilities that we'll talk about here in a little bit when we have our first encounter. Our highwayman, we have a known cheat, is not allowed to gamble while in town, so that again limits our de-stressing options. We can't have him gamble, but he can do other things, which is fine. We got a hard noggin, so he has a 15% stun resist, which is good. Quick reflexes as well, which is +2 to speed, which is really nice. So we got open vein here, which does do damage, but also bleeds, which is really good. And a couple of other skills. Their positions, as you can see, the highwayman would prefer to be in the second or third spot, and their abilities sort of, more or less highlighted here. But we'll talk about that as we get into combat here. So to move around, A goes left, D goes right. You can also click left or right to move in those directions. We're going to go ahead and just start scooching around. Actually, we're going to go ahead and hit this. So down here is your dungeon map. So this is there's only one other room in this dungeon because it's the starting dungeon. So we have to find our way to Hamlet. So we just got to move.
Brigands have run up these lanes.
Alright, so here's the hallway movement tooltip. We have the radiant light right now, which is fine. So let's just mosey on through. Oh, we got some stress already. And it's probably because we're losing light. Alright, so we've surprised them, which is really nice. Combat is turn-based. Yep. If you want to pause it and read that, by all means go ahead. What do we got here? We got our first highwayman. He is up. So let's take a look at their abilities here. Open Vein's going to put a debuff on the target. We'll do 4 to 8 damage by the looks of it. And will then bleed, has a chance, I guess, to bleed them for 2 points per round for 3 rounds. For a total of basically 6 damage. And it debuffs the target, which is nice. We don't have pistol. Well, we do have pistol shot, but we can't attack it because if you notice the little dots, the red dots there, the first slot is grayed out, which means I can't attack an enemy with pistol shot in that row, which kind of sucks. Grape Shot is an AoE. You know that by the 3 dots there that are connected. That means it'll hit all 3 of those positions. And again, we can't use our tracking shot, which buffs ourselves because he's in the first slot there. So all we really can do is do Open Vein, and I think that's what we're going to do. I mean, we could do Grape Shot, but Grape Shot will only do 3 to 4, whereas this will do 4 to 8. So that's definitely what we're going to do. And we crit. Really nice. And honestly, we could just hang out. Doesn't matter what we do now. I might do something. I guess we don't. Oh, wait, we do. Torch plus 20. Let's go ahead and use that. That'll give us some more torchlight.
The light, the promise of
And this guy's going to die from the bleed anyway on his turn. So we're good to go.
Remind yourself.
Alright, so we got some gold. Gold is very useful. Moving forward. Oop, we have a tent. While exploring, you will often find interactive objects. Click or press W to investigate them. Let's go ahead and click that. Who was our klepto? I think you were. So I want you, right? Yeah. Let's have the highwaymen open it up. Someone left valuables inside. Really nice. More gold. Gold is always good. So we've reached the end of the tunnel, or the path.
There is much to be found in forgotten places.
Alright, so these are the end bosses, I suppose, for this little dungeon. And
the rightful owner has returned, and their kind is no longer welcome.
Ooh, whatever. So we have this big guy, Bloodletter, and a Brigand Fusilier. So we did surprise them, which is nice. We do get to go. I think we are going to start off with an Open Vein. Now, if you'll notice, you really can't tell here. Yeah, you can. So, Open Vein to 2 slots there, I can hit. However, Big Boy here takes up 2 slots, so I can't hit this guy with it because he's in the 3rd slot while Big Boy takes up the first 2. So, that is a bit of a bummer, but we're going to go ahead and do that, I believe. I could hit them both with Grape Shot, but that's only going to do 3 to 5. I'd rather try to bleed this guy. Now he has a 20% resistance to bleed. Hopefully that will decrease with the debuff from Open Vein. So we'll have to see. Come on, bleed him. Yes. Very nice. Yep, the bleed went down to 0%, but he did get bled, so that is great. Now I think we could bleed him again, but we may have to take a look at that. Alright, so I have an AoE here, Zealous Accusation, but unfortunately it's only going to hit him because of those first 2 slots. So I think what I really want to do, I could try to stun him. So Stunning Blow is a melee based attack that will stun. However, this guy has a 50% chance to stun. Resist, which is kind of bleh. But I think it might be worth it in the long run. So let's try. Come on, don't resist. Yes. Alright, so that's going to skip his turn, which is really nice. And we dodged, which is a really, really good. Alright, what did you get? Plus 40. Oh, jeez. Alright then. Well, we're not going to resist him again. Let's go ahead and do another bleed. Alright, so now he's ticking for 4 damage. I think that's all we can do. Now we could do a mark. So this, if you're familiar with like RPGs or MMOs or anything like that, I believe this functions more like a taunt for tanks. Marks the target so they're more likely to attack him. Plus it gives 25% protection, which I'm tempted to do. It'll also give us some light. Now I think closing some damage on this guy will be useful for right now. So let's do that. Boom. Alright. 4. Alright, so he's gonna die next round regardless. I think. Ow. Oh, and they rearranged us. Ugh. That's not good. Alright, so you got 4. Okay, you're gonna die regardless, so that is fine. Unfortunately, I can't do anything. I can't attack this guy. I don't want to attack him, because if you attack him and you kill him normally, he'll collapse and then he'll be an obstacle and still take up those two spots. If he dies from a bleed, the corpse disappears. So when in doubt, you want to let the bleed kill them so that they just basically disappear, and then this guy moves up in the first round. I think because our order got rearranged, I think I'm just going to go ahead and move him back. Use his turn to move back. And then, now can I hit anybody here? No. Now I think it's a good time to use this. Now bruised up our light, getting a buff. He'll die, disappear. This guy will be brought up, and he should attack our main dude here next time. Attracts enemies and takes more damage from some attacks. Alright, so let's go ahead and bleed this guy. Alright, perfect. Okay, didn't take too bad there. And just attack. Boom!
Give them no quarter.
Just like that, he's down. We got some nice loot, which is fantastic. Alright, so we've completed the quest. However, we don't really want to end it here because there's this nice glimmering chest right here. Continue adventure. Alright, so you are my kleptomaniac. So we are going to choose our highwayman. Come over here and try to open. Oh, it's a trap! But we resisted. Okay then. Alright, well, that's all we have for this. So let's go ahead and complete the quest. Alright, so we got some gold. We got some heirlooms, which is all fantastic. Hit next. So we've leveled up. So apprentice level 1 is sort of the leveling here. And we got Renaud has gotten some resolve bonuses. So this will either give us a good perk or a bad perk or both. Let's see. We got a good perk, tough. He is now tough and gets plus 10% max HP, which is really nice. Overall, that was a pretty good start. I'm happy about that.
Welcome home.
Alright, so this is our activity log. This shows us what actually we did. So let's go ahead and turn that down.
And you are bound to them.
Okay. Alright, so this is our town. This is Hamlet. We don't have any access to these other buildings, but eventually we will. I'm not entirely sure what all of them do. The tavern is a place. Most of these places will be areas where you send your guys to de-stress in various different ways. But we can't click on them. We'll be able to after the next mission. The sanitarium, I believe, is a place where you can go send your people to get rid of a negative quality or negative quirk. So that'll be something we'll take a look at eventually. Blacksmith, I believe, upgrades weapons and armor. And I'm not entirely sure what the guild does, but we'll have to take a look at that eventually. But the only things we have access to right now are what is, exclamation pointed. What do we have here? This is just, I guess, a place for
extent of my failings.
Memoirs. So a place we can view the cutscenes, I believe, which is fine. Graveyard will.
Most will end up here, covered in the poisoned earth, awaiting merciful oblivion.
Okay. This is where we will go to see our dead people. And then the stagecoach. So I'm going to let the little voiceover play.
Women and men, soldiers and outlaws, fools and corpses. All will find their way to us now that the road is clear.
Okay. So this is the stagecoach. This is where your people come in on. So we got a seeker, plague doctor, plague doctor, and a vestal. So we can drag these heroes over here and add them to our roster. We only have space for 9 though. We can upgrade to get to a size of 12, but I'm not in any rush to do that. We're not bringing in enough people right now. So I think it'll be good though to upgrade this, because this will bring in 3 heroes instead of 2 after the next dungeon, and we're gonna want that.
Word is traveling. Ambition is
It would be
stirring
nice
in
to have
distant
gotten
cities.
4, because
We can
if
use
we come
this.
out of here and our first 4 are like completely and utter basket cases, it would be nice to have 4 that will go in their place and let them sort of de-stress. But unfortunately, we don't have the resources. So down here we have our resources, and we are missing 1 deed. Just 1 deed, but no such luck. So let's take a look at our plague doctor. He's curious, so he's obsessed with the acquisition of knowledge. He is an armor tinker, so minus 20% armor upgrade cost, which will be nice in the future, I believe, unless he dies. Clotter, and he has a plus 15% bleed resist, which is really nice. So here we see an increase to the base of 20%. He has a plague grenade, which puts blight, which is sort of another bleed, but just a different style. I don't think you can... It basically takes up a bleed slot, so... But some enemies can't be bled. I believe undead you can't be bled, but they can be blighted, which will be nice. Blinding gas, which does a stun to the back 2 rows, so that's interesting. Both these abilities can only attack in the back 2. See, he has no ability that can attack the front row. Battlefield medicine, which is a heal and a cure for blight bleed. And disorienting blast. Clear all corpses. Well, that's actually pretty nice. We won't have to worry too much about what do you call it? Like dead people blocking our way. And it also stuns and shuffles. I'm guessing that means it shuffles their order. Interesting. Never played with that one. So we'll take a look at that. That's great. So let's add him to our roster here. Come on. Get in there. Thank you.
Better laboratory than the blood-soaked
Arundel is a Vestal, so that's sort of like a healer, I believe. Good quirk, plus 5 accuracy. However, she does have 2 bad quirks. Clumsy, minus 5 dodge, and off guard, minus 4 speed on first round, minus 5 speed on, or speed, minus 5 dodge on first round, which kind of sucks. But we'll take a look here. We got Divine Grace, which heals, the Dazzling Light, ranged attack, adds plus 6 to Torch, which will be nice. We'll talk about the Torch when we get into our first dungeon. And Divine Comfort. Heal party 1 to 2. So that's like an AoE heal, I believe. Yeah, heal party. And then we got a Hand of Light, which again gives, does damage, plus 15 damage versus Unholy. Can go the first 2 spots. And debuffs the targets, which are really good. Alright, well, we're going to go with these people because we have no choice. Alright, so I think that will be a good spot
and unrelenting
to end this episode. So go ahead and if you did like it, I hope you did. But if you did, please let me know via the like button. Especially for these new episodes or new series to kick them off, just to make sure, like, I'll continue this as long as people are watching and as long as we can. And we may end up like our game of For the King, just completely dying out. We'll see. But I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, let me know. And if you want to see more content, I strongly urge you to subscribe to the channel. And we will see you next time, folks. Bye-bye.